Up, guys? Welcome to Daily Refinement. It's our Monday morning live, which is going to move to Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's some crazy news happening today, at least for me. It's going to be quite a change for me moving forward. So I was doing a time audit, which I'm going to offer for free as a PDF for you guys to keep track of what you actually do all week. And the second half of 2023 is going to be really exciting because I'm actually going to track my time the entire time. A lot of you guys know I'm a big fan of Rob Dyrdek. He's a skateboarder entrepreneur dude, and he tracked his whole year one time and said like he was effective 91% of his year. I thought that was so cool because he's like maximum family, maximum business, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, plus maximum time with his family, maximum time with his wife, super fit. I'm all into that. So I'm going to be doing that second half of the year. I'm excited that I'm going to start vlogging so you guys can check it out. Instead of just doing tutorial after tutorial after tutorial after tutorial, I'm just going to mix them into my regular life so you guys can see what's going on. Plus, I have two small children, which I think you guys might enjoy seeing built into the story. I don't want to exploit them, but I want you guys to see just how cool it is to try to do everything at the same time. There's 168 hours in a week. After doing my time audit, I feel like I'm doing stuff about 161 of those hours. I'm pretty busy, got a lot of stuff organized in there. Busy as in doing the things that I want to do with my life. So I wouldn't have it any different. We just recently added, my wife and I just recently added 7 hours of alone time, where she goes out on herself, by herself. I take care of the kids, and then I go out and she takes care of the kids for 7 hours. She's also going back to work in September. So right now I want to spend as much time with her because we might not get this time again ever with the kids that are little. This is our last kid for sure. So then this is our last maternity leave that we have together. So I want to spend as much time with her as possible. So excited because one more change before we go over this. My Poshmark closet, I'm going to start taking it really seriously now. So this morning, Autumn had asked me in the morning call, like, you kind of threw us off guard by saying you don't want more than 10 Poshmark sales per day, but I don't. This morning I got to work at 8:49. It took me 10 minutes to find items, which is really slow for me. It was because this morning I had listed a couple of items that weren't right in my inventory system, so it took me 10 minutes to find 11 items. It took me 9 minutes to ship those. So around 9:10 in the morning I was done with my shipping, and that's it. I don't want to do any more Poshmark. I want to just condense it to about 15 minutes per day on the shipping side, customer service. And 10 sales a day times $20 profit is completely fine for me. That's $73,000 a year. So many people in our group have a goal of about $60,000 to $75,000 per year with a family. And that essentially gives them a little bit of a buffer for health insurance, for a little bit for savings, and most people are spending between $20,000 and $40,000 a year, so they want that extra money to either pay down debt, save, invest, start a different company, buy a piece of property, whatever they're looking for, pay down college tuition loans. So I'm going to be basing my Poshmark closet off of $70,000 per year. And my wife was asking, is it worth it for you to go to the flea market at 3 a.m. every single Sunday? And I was thinking, absolutely not. Just for my regular making money situation, it does not make sense for me to wake up at the butt crack of dawn on Sunday and go to the flea market. I don't need to do that. But I do have an obligation to show everyone that they can do this and they can run their own business on their own time. So for you, I will go to the flea market at 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday because I think it's awesome. I can find the 70 items that I need in 3 hours at the flea market. So from 3:45 to 6:45, I'm going to go sourcing. This is the time when there's the least people at the flea market and the best deals are out there. So I'm going to make a really, really tight time. Go there from 3:45 to 6:45. Get home by 7 because if you guys are in the morning calls, you know that at 7 I feed my newborn. So got to be home by 7. My wife takes care of the toddler. I take care of the newborn. Got to be home by 7. So 3 hours for sourcing to find 70 items. I think that's very reasonable. Let me know in the chat if you don't think that's reasonable. I go to the 10th largest flea market in my area, so I don't even go to the biggest one. It's just the nearest one to me. Friday, this is big. From 8:45 to 12:45, I'm going to host the Shut Up and List room. I'm going to be photographing, listing, putting away, and resetting to zero 77 items for the week. So 70 items for 10 a day and plus 7 for emergencies in case I'm out of town or in case I can't list for some reason or health things. And because I have 2 young kids, sometimes they need to go to the doctor or something. I want to make sure that I'm ahead of schedule. And I won't schedule any doctor appointments or anything like that on Friday. So Friday morning is my Poshmark go time. So this is my Poshmark schedule. 3 hours of sourcing on the weekend. 15 minutes every other day for shipping. Friday, 4 hours to list 77 items. That's my plan. That should make me $70,000 a year pre-tax. What I'm going to use that money for is to cover all my expenses, including my new dad van. So, got a new Honda Odyssey on Friday. It is so sweet. I only had to take one trip from the flea market to my warehouse, which is so epic because this entire time for 3 years, I've been making multiple trips from the flea market to my storage unit or from the flea market to my warehouse. My warehouse is open 24/7. So, before I literally would go to the flea market, wait until my storage unit opened at 7, unload, drive back to the flea market, get the rest of my stuff, and at 7 o'clock, everyone and their mom is there. So that sucked. Going at 7 and having to wade through all those people to get my stuff, horrible. So when I got the warehouse, it helped a lot, but still had to make multiple trips. Now everything fits in the van. It's super awesome. I only need to make one trip to the post office. And it also made me think, Whatnot's going to be switching a little bit to UPS, allowing UPS, so that's really good. So I want to limit my USPS packages to 200 to 400 orders a day because that'll fit in my van. UPS, though, the moon is the limit. Unlimited wholesale orders through UPS because they pick up and they can come into my shop and pick it up. Like the UPS guys here are awesome. Basically, they have a key to the building. So they can come in, knock on the door, and get my packages from inside my warehouse. They don't have to... like the post office is very unreliable. The UPS is so reliable, they get a key. So even the post office does not have a key to my actual warehouse building. They only have a key to the mailroom. So UPS here is super dope. I'm super excited to get switched over to that. But that's basically my plan. I'm going to be stopping reselling at 12:45 p.m. I'm switching, guys, to part-time reseller. I'm going to be reselling 23 hours a week. My goal with reselling is $3 million revenue per year, $1 million profit. So 23 hours, I want to make $1 million profit all year. I want to spend the other half of my work day working on YouTube. I want to make some epic videos for you guys. So I'm pretty excited because my YouTube channel is kind of garbage because I don't spend time on it. All I do is just like, Christine films me, whatever I'm thinking that day, that's the video. So I want to actually make good videos for once. So I'm going to put some effort in. Let people know you really can live the life that you want, but it's going to be a bit of a grind. Also, there's so much stuff. This is why I can make a video in one take because there's so much going on. I'm going to add a nap. So I'm going to be trying to add a 20-minute to 30-minute nap per day because right now the dream feed is wrecking my body because Henry, my newborn, doesn't. Sometimes he takes 10 minutes to feed and go to sleep. Sometimes it takes an hour and 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 2 hours because he doesn't want to eat for some reason. So that is very hard to the point where like anybody who's doing this with small children, you got to give yourself a break. They're so unpredictable. Like I don't. Things take from 5 minutes to 2 hours. That's like the range. And you have to do that like 8 to 14 times a day. Sometimes your whole day goes by and you can't get anything done. That's just part of that. So give yourself some grace. I think it gets easier at this point, but 2 kids under 2, it's been freaking brutal. So I'm going to add a nap at around 12:45 per day. I'm going to eat, take a quick 20-minute nap, go on with the rest of my day. Yesterday, I tried to take a 20-minute nap, and I slept for 2 hours and 15 minutes. My wife actually took over because it was Father's Day. So happy Father's Day, guys, and happy Juneteenth. But I was freaking tired. My whole week was so much stuff to do. But now I'm excited. I'm going to cut my reselling. Instead of working on reselling the whole day, I'm only going to work on a half a day. And I need to have somebody help me out with a little bit of the administrative stuff in my shop, which is like loading stuff into my car to go to the post office. I don't mind taking it on the way to pick up my daughter from childcare, but there's about 17 hours a week that I spend doing things that I should not be doing. So I'm going to hire a part-time person to help me with loading, unpacking. That person's going to need to wear like probably steel-toe shoes. 'Cause I feel like a lot of stuff I sell is heavy. So going to find a part-time person to get 20 hours of my week back. So I was spending 40 hours a week reselling full-time, but 17 of those hours don't require me. So I'm going to get somebody else to replace that. 23 hours reselling. Of those 23 hours, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them will be Poshmark. So 15 hours a week on my Whatnot business. My main role will be to buy the stuff that comes in and to create the sort. Like, what are we selling? Dresses, shoes, swimwear, outerwear, shoes. I said shoes twice, but I mean like new shoes and used shoes. So that's going to be what I'm doing right now. I want to spend 49 hours a week working, 49 hours a week with my family, 14 hours a week with just my wife, 7 hours by myself. I'm also looking for a bike because I feel like I want to ride my bike for those 7 hours because I was walking around in my neighborhood yesterday during my 1 hour and I loved it. Because we've never had that before. I never had an hour to myself before. My wife and I just added that. So I think I want a bike. I want to bike around. And then 7 hours a week, I do nothing. So I'm happy with that 7 hours a week. Maybe I'll watch Netflix. Maybe I'll go rock climbing. But 7 hours a week is about an hour a day to do whatever I want. And that's currently where I'm going to be at. So hopefully there are some questions. But that's where I'm at.
Well, Scott is asking, has Tech approved of this proposed nap?
No, he doesn't approve of anything that I do, to be honest. He thinks my whole life it's entertaining to him because it's like inefficient. That guy is the Terminator, so he doesn't need to sleep. But I'm right now my Fitbit shows that I'm about a 77 to 85 on my Fitbit sleep score, and I want to score over 90. So I'm going to have to wait and be patient until my son goes to bed at 7, like my daughter. When he goes to bed at 7, I'm going to hit over 90 every day on my sleep score. But right now, I just got to struggle through this for a couple more months. Natalie, actually, by this time, was already sleep trained. So my son's taking a little bit longer. He set a PR a few days ago and did sleep 10 hours. But most of the time, he's sleeping about 6 hours. So it is what it is. He's doing the best that he can. He's still a baby. I'm not mad at him. But Tech has not approved of any of my plans. No. I don't need him to live my life.
Bold Finds says, thanks for the recommendation on the mic today, Chris. What a view, by the way.
Yeah, nice.
We're on the roof.
Yeah,
right
thank
now.
you, James. Yeah, this mic is the one I recommended for James. James is Bold Finds. Please follow him. He's in the UK. I have already committed to going to the UK for a reseller meetup next summer.
Nice.
So maybe Christine can come with. I'm going to figure out how to get out there. I love the UK. It's one of my favorite places. I would definitely live there. So many of my great memories of traveling are in London. Even though the weather is kind of bad, I loved it. So I love how old that country is. Like, there's so much history. Here, it's like a lot of the stuff in my area is super disposable. So, and I don't like the UK because there's like institutions and establishments everywhere, at least in the touristy areas.
Ledinus Wishes says, I like UPS also, but what if they go on strike again?
If they go on strike again, it is what it is. I do the best I can to ship by the next business day. But here, they're all unionized, so I'm confident that the union they'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brown will pick up. I like my guy. Other than he's a little bit unreliable because like maybe this is spilling the tea too much, but something with his personal life, I won't spill the tea, is in this area. So I feel like because that's in this area, he's here more often. So I feel like because that's here, my warehouse is here, most of the time I will get picked up. But a couple of times he's texted me and said, I'm gonna arrive really late today because I got something going on. So it is what it is.
Texts you though.
Yeah, at least he texted me. Yeah.
Let's see. Bargain Hunter has a question.
Yep.
Can you listen to group podcasts on YouTube?
You can. So the link inside of our group will take you to the YouTube video where you can listen to all the replays. I think all the replays are up to date. Please let me know if they are not in the chat and I'll correct them later. But I think everything is up to date. We have thousands and thousands of calls on every single niche. So let me know in the chat if there's not one that's not updated. But I corrected the clothing call because there was 2 parts because Zoom has been kind of buggy lately. But there's 2 parts the last 2 weeks. And I think I have it all corrected now. But clothing, jeans, Whatnot, Poshmark, social media, and YouTube. We have a card call. We have an ephemera call on antiques with Carl. He's been reselling for 50 years. I'm still looking to add somebody in Canada and somebody in Germany. to fill up the roster. And then we have Mel back from Burnout. Shout out to Mel doing the Australian call, and Bold Finds does the UK call for us. So across the pond, I would say probably 400 people in the group are from the UK. So there's a few different things in the UK, but the structure, building your resale business is usually pretty similar. The main difference is the way people source in the UK is different than here.
Kyle says, has anyone else had new listings default to eBay's automated promotion standard? Any ways around this?
I think if you go into your promoted listings, there's a checkbox that will all new listings will fall under that same promoted listings rate. So just make sure that checkbox is not checked. Otherwise, it will happen. And it's pretty easy to check. I think they make it easy to check so that people accidentally opt into that program. But for most people running a large store, in my opinion, it's okay to promote every single item. It's only when you're like really small and learning, like you have 25 listings in your store, some items you really can't afford that $2 in promoted listings. That's when you would be selective about it. But in the beginning, I also think you don't need promoted listings.
Mm-hmm.
I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. There's a lot of pollen in the air. It is.
Yeah, everyone's having allergies right now.
Allergies up here.
Sky in Sky says, my hubby used to ask me how long until I go to the post office. I have 2 young children, so my response was always, when the kids let me.
I know. It's
Reselling
tough.
with the youngins should be a sport.
It is tough. I have not been thrifting with my babies, but I feel like that would be insanely difficult. I always joked about filling up the car with toddlers and going. Now I don't think that's as funny anymore because it's very hard. Natalie is like very, very, very spicy. She's a 2-year-old and she just like has like an opinion and is like about everything. So it's hard to get her to do anything, but she's cute, so I'll put up with it. But it's hard. And essentially, I did see that meme that was like you have to wear out your kids so they'll actually take a nap. I've been utilizing that. It's been pretty good. I just got a little trampoline, and yesterday, Natalie was on a trampoline, getting out of her aggression. She was like aggressively jumping, and she slept for 3 hours during her nap. So like,
Nice.
I'm into this like wear your kids out, like stimulate them as much as possible. And she's also motivating me to try to like improve my Chinese. So if I could stimulate her mentally and physically, hopefully she'll go to sleep so I can actually get some work done.
Dylan says, happy Monday. At what part in your eBay thrifting process do you check comps and decide what you're going to list an item for?
Before I buy it. So I'm going to be doing that. Now that I have 20 hours a week to work on YouTube, I can go thrifting finally. So got my camera set up. I'm going to go thrifting. My camera setup is really compact, so I can carry my camera with me and I'm going to check comps on eBay while I'm out there, but I'm going to list on Poshmark. Poshmark comps are not really reliable to me, so I'm going to check eBay, go home, list on Poshmark. I think it'll be cool because a lot of people will cross-list my Poshmark closet on the eBay, so I will get eBay sales even though I'm not on eBay because other people are going to cross-list. I'm not going to cross-list, but see, because you can list anything on Poshmark now under £5, that'll really be my only limitation. Anything over £5, I'm not sure I want to pay the extra for the Poshmark upgraded shipping because it's not cost effective. So, has anybody in the chat used Poshmark to sell something like £10? Can you upload your own label? I don't think Poshmark would let you do that, but that's the only downside of using Poshmark as a platform is that over £5, you're required to use their shipping, which could be a lot more expensive. So, but I'm excited to go thrifting, check the comps before I buy it, figure out, I'm going to buy this for $5, list it for $89 before I buy.
Jackie Hibbs says, I've been going through all of the calls and I'm not sure if it's better to completely start from the beginning back in 2021 or start with the newer calls and work my way back. There's so much information.
Always start with the newer calls and work backwards because the newer calls are more relevant. So if you have time, there's no way to listen to all of them. We have thousands of calls. So you'd want to figure out the niche that you're in, start with the most recent, go backwards. Also, you don't want to fill your brain with too many tutorial videos. You want to fill your brain with what you're doing right now and just a touch of tutorial videos. So like, what are you doing right now? Is it 10 a day? Is it 20 a day? Is it 1 a day? Then watch a video and see if it can improve you by a certain amount, a certain threshold. So filling your brain with too much information is counterproductive. In fact, I'm trying to not do that now. I'm trying to listen to less information and just listen to the same information over and over again until I've actually implemented it. Like right now, I'm into lean manufacturing, so I'm like reading the Toyota Way over and over again to try to like just get as much information I can from the singular book before I move on. Because otherwise, it's like listen to a different podcast, different book every single week, and then you don't take any action. So I might just listen to the Toyota Way the rest of the year.
Bozo the Clown has several questions.
Yep.
Would you be sending every prior buyer a private coupon on eBay after they leave positive feedback, especially?
I would reply to every single feedback with a coupon. And that way, people who check my feedback will see that coupon and they'll think they tricked me into using it to get a deal. I'm completely fine with that, but the more advertising, the better. There is no better advertisement than perfect feedback. So, perfect feedback plus a coupon code in there. It can be the same as what you would send them an offer for, but people are on eBay looking for a deal. So, I recommend you reply with a coupon code in your feedback if you have time, and also message them if you have time.
Should the word new be in your title if the item is new? Should it be first or last?
Technically, according to eBay, you don't put new or new with tag in the title. I definitely wouldn't put it first. It would be towards the end. I guess one of the exceptions to the rule is that if you don't need to rank higher, like let's say you have there's 2 of these items in the world, maybe you would put new with tags first because it's truncated on mobile. And so like if you have the Hope Diamond and you're selling it for $150 million, maybe put $150 million first, then Hope Diamond. But in that scenario, I still think Hope Diamond would still hit harder, because there's only one of those. So MSRP and new with tag I would put towards the end, personally.
And then his last question is, in most cases, should clothing be listed in the clothing category? And when should Harley be listed in collectibles and a Disney t-shirt in Disney memorabilia?
It depends if people are looking for the collectible or the brand, or like Disneyana is a good example. Like you wouldn't post an Adidas Disney shirt in the clothing category. You would post it in the Disneyana category, just so people can find it. But it depends. You can also, depending on how rare the item is, you can pay for both categories. But for the most part, whatever people are searching for, that's the category. So if they're searching for Mickey Mouse, Disney. They're searching for Harley Davidson, like a collectible one. It's up to you. A lot of people do post everything in the clothing category because it's bigger. But it really depends on a case-by-case basis because there's exceptions to this rule in like NCAA, NFL, NBA. In sports teams, there are still exceptions where you would list it in the clothing category, even though someone would be looking, like Ohio Buckeyes, maybe they're looking specifically in the NCAA category. But there's exceptions to every single rule. That's why it's important to keep up in the group because people are posting, hey, I tried it this way, and I found out that in this category with this item, it's better on this side.
Mm-hmm. Gabriel says, daily obligatory question. Any updates on the eBay resurrection?
No, unfortunately. So I haven't given up on getting my eBay account back. But at this point, this is going to sound so weird. I think you don't need eBay. Like now that I realize how important it is to have great stuff, when you have great stuff, it sells on every platform. It's just eBay kind of allows you to sell average stuff because of how sophisticated the algorithm is. So when you have a really good algorithm and people can find what they're looking for, then you can post a basic shirt and enough people will look at it that you might be able to sell it. But if you have a great shirt, it'll sell anywhere. That's sort of what I've discovered over the last 3 years of doing this podcast. The people who are doing well are doing 10 times as well as everybody else. And it makes me think let's not be average, because average sucks. Average means you're barely selling anything. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're going to die from heart disease, diabetes, dementia, or cancer. Let's not be normal. Let's live to 100. Let's be super duper rich. Let's do the least amount of work possible. Let's dominate the algorithm. Let's sell things that people want. I was kind of joking with Neil on the morning call. He was saying Why wouldn't I want to sell 50 bad items instead of one good item to give myself 50 chances? And I was joking, and I was like, Neil, if you want to take a bullet for the rest of us and just sell all the items that people don't want, go for it. We'll just sell the items that people want. I would much rather have one item that people want than 50 items that people don't want, perfectly optimized to try to get lucky to sell one. If you have one good item, you don't need to get lucky. There's plenty of people looking for it. So 50 crappy items is not as good as one item optimized. And also, it's important to understand that I need to make my concepts clear enough that it makes sense. So for Neil, he still doesn't agree. He thinks that 50 bad items is better than one good item. I don't know how to explain that I don't think it is. I think that one good item is better than 50 mediocre items. But I don't know how to articulate that properly. It's just that having 50 bad items, let's say 5 of them do sell, you have 45 bad items stuck in your store. And I don't know. I feel like that it's insurmountable because over time, you have 5,000 items, 500 of them sold, and 4,500 of them clog up your store and storage and mental real estate. And I'd rather have 5 items that are great, all 5 sell. The first time I did Poshmark in January, I listed 10 items and I sold 10 items and I just took a 5-month break. There was no items left. Now in my Poshmark closet, items are selling. I'm just listing replenishable items in my Poshmark closet right now, and so doesn't require as much maintenance. I don't want a big closet of 4,000 or 5,000 items and only sell 1 to 3 a day and have to manage thousands of items. That doesn't make sense. The more I do this, the more I realize that for me personally, I can't speak for Neil. Neil prefers a larger store of mediocre items. I just don't know if that system works.
Question from Maxwell. When should something be listed in the specialty vintage category versus being listed in the normal men's clothing category with vintage item specific checked?
It depends on how your customer searches. So this is a really good question. It's like the same question as the Harley one. Depending on how your customers search, that's the category that you pick. So the more that you research your category, you'll know how your shoppers look because you'll be able to look at the solds and see, okay, more of these sell in this category. That's the category you pick. Pick the category that has the easiest results. That's why I'm recommending you guys listen to Tech and Sports because he's sold 500,000 items. Why do you want to listen to people who just started on YouTube? Listen to people who've been doing it forever perfectly. Then you can be like, okay, I'm going to adapt 80% of what he says, and you'll get tremendous results.
Sawoop says size XL or XL or extra large. Does it matter to help the buyer find your item?
Every additional word helps your buyer find it because there are people who search extra and type out extra. There's people who put XXL. There's people who search 2XL. So in our group, we have a lot of resources on how to optimize titles. However, the answer is the most key terms that fit in the title because you want to get every single way that people look. So item specifics and title, very, very important to get as many that are accurate and relevant as possible in there. There's no exact answer to that because in some categories people do type in extra and in some categories people don't type in the word extra. So it depends on how your customer searches.
Along those lines, several people are asking about the order of things in the title.
Yeah.
Would you put the brand of the item first in the title or the end?
This is a great question, and it's like the purpose of our group.
Yeah.
So like if you join our group at patreon.com/theresource podcast, we go over the exceptions. I can't tell you exactly how it is because it's different. I'll give you an example. Eileen Fisher, the people who wear that brand, they search by size. So if you look Eileen Fisher, the next recommended item specific is size. So it would go Eileen Fisher, women's extra large. That's an example of a title, right? Women would search that way for that. However, Tommy Hilfiger, if you type in Tommy Hilfiger, the first thing that comes up after that is like shirt. It's not size, it's item. So I can't give you a one size fits all because it depends on the customer. The last 8 questions we've answered have all been like that. It depends on what the customer looks for. That's how you write the title. Unfortunately, I can't give you a one size fits all, which a lot of people want, but it's a lazy answer because that's not how it works. Every single category has slight nuances. And if you're wondering why your sales are slow, it's because you don't know your own nuances. You don't know that like as an example, for me, when I'm feeding the baby, I know if I feed Henry 4 ounces, he'll sleep longer than if I feed him 3 ounces because he's less likely to get hungry, right? But that's not the case with every single baby. So you have to know your customer. My customer in this scenario is Henry, my son. He sleeps longer if he's more full. So I will wait an additional half an hour to feed him the last half ounce. So he'll sleep an hour or an hour and a half longer. That way I net more sleep. So it depends on your exact customer, but I am trying to not do things that are related to the way I want to do it because it doesn't matter what I want. The customer is the person that you're serving. So I'm happy to answer these kind of questions all day long, but there's no answer that's just one way to do it.
Along those lines,
Yeah, along those lines. Let's do it.
where should pictures of measurements be inserted into the photos of an item?
I think towards the end. You definitely want a front profile pic, front detail pic, back profile pic, back detail pic, then measurements. That's how I would approach it. I'm also trying to set the new record. Right now, my photo taking process is like 45 seconds per photo, per set of photos for 12 in focus perfect photos. I want to get it down to under 30 seconds. That's my goal for the rest of the year. I want to be able to have items perfectly staged, no wrinkles, no stains, perfectly centered, 12 photos, under 30 seconds. Now, of course, I'm not expecting that on every single set. I want to average under 1 minute for sure, but I want to be able to do it in 30 seconds. At peace, perfect photos, not 30 or 12 garbage photos, 12 perfect in focus photos. I'm excited to set up my camera in my Poshmark room where you guys can watch me do it for 4 hours in a row. I think that'd be really useful. People can watch me do it. And if you can do it 10 times slower than me, right? I do it in 4 hours, you do it in 40, you can still make 70K a year, right? I don't think there's a single person listening right now that can't aspire to 10 times slower than the way that I do it. And I do it at least twice as slow as Tech and Sports. So that gives you an idea of how he's able to do 50 years of work in 1 year because he's so efficient. So how many of you guys would like to work for 1 year and take 50 years off?
Green Trees says, I sell sneakers mainly and
Yep.
other hype stuff. Supreme, RLC, Hot Wheels,
Yep.
Cause. Should I promote or get a store? A store is only 1% savings and $23 a month.
That's negligible. Neither of those matter. Like if you promote, you can't promote without a store actually. So I would upgrade to at least the basic store, and we're talking about $23 a month. It doesn't matter. That's like I would get the basic store or premium store. I would still promote because you want that paid traffic. So let me give you guys an example. I always use this example. Coca-Cola is one of the top 10 brands in the world. Okay, everybody listening right now knows what a Coke is. You probably have one or several or up to 20 a day if you're listening right now, right? Half of their sales come from promoted listings where they buy placement in the end cap or corner or in easy to view places at a dollar store. Coca-Cola has bought space to sell their product. Half of their sales come from that. So I'm always a fan of paying for placement because it guarantees traffic. If you're doing a good job, that traffic will convert into sales. Most people get the majority of their sales from paid placement. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Pay more, got to pay to play.
Roman says, do you make a lot of profit off of smaller items, $10 to $20, or is most of your profit from higher ticket items?
99% of my profit is $20 or less.
Juggernaut says, when are you going to do a video about your Pokemon cards you got back?
At least another 2 months. I have so much stuff to get through first, and I have so many other projects, but I will do it because my brother is wondering. My brother had a Japanese Lugia, and it's graded, and it's probably worth $800. And he's been texting me like every day, like, bro. So I'm almost like, I'll just send you $800 and just let me take my time. I'm not gonna dig through these to find it for you. So I'll get to it. But my dreams of doing Pokemon are over. I'm okay not. I'm so glad I opened thousands of cards at one time because I got it out of my system. I no longer care. I don't want to also have a Pokemon business. I thought that would be fun, but I'll just admire people who have a Pokemon business. I really am inspired by people who their entire business is just one desk. Like, like here's their listing station. They've got a camera set up with a fixed camera right here to take photos, or a scanner, right? Their computer right here. Their card system is just on their table, and it's like 200 grand worth of cards on their desk. Like their entire store is just their desk. They don't need it more space. Their space is like 5 square feet. That to me is so dope. I love those businesses, but it's not for me. I need this giant building. I'm not going to switch niches. As Tech would say, all of us live to around 80 years old, roughly, and I'm already almost 40. I only have 40 summers left. I'm not going to waste any of them learning how to be a card seller. I'm okay. I'll just appreciate the card sellers that are out there. Hang out with Billy and Juanita on our card call. Our card call is excellent. Figure out how people are doing it. Are they doing breaks? Are they doing... Because breaks plus selling singles plus grading, I think if you're a card seller, you got to do it all. It's just the best way to make it profitable. I feel like you should do live breaks, get all your money there, do some grading because there's some money there. But I just feel like, I don't know, the card people who only do one specific thing, I think that might be too narrow for cards, personally.
Maxwell says, why did you get into reselling business compared to any other business? Based on your personality, it seems you could be successful in any industry.
I got into reselling because I don't know. I kind of regret getting into reselling. It's hard. It's harder to scale. I feel like if I was a plumber, or I owned a lawn care business, or I owned like something people need, like HVAC, I think I would be more successful because that seems more normal. Like reselling, you're kind of at the mercy of your suppliers. How many of you guys agree to that? Your thrift route, your knowledge that you'd have in your brain of what brands to buy, what to buy, small items, large items. Your Uncle Frank who owns this thing where he gives you things that fall off the truck. Your Aunt Nancy who runs an insurance claim business, and the items that get salvaged or zeroed out, you get those items. It's kind of like very random. But if you owned a HVAC business, you would just like optimize your Yelp reviews, get some word of mouth, and then you're done. Like you just serve a certain area. All the traffic comes through you because you're the highest rated person in your system. I feel like that is more sustainable, and that's probably easier to sell than your resale business. I would love to sell my resale operation, but I don't know how to do that. At this point, let's see. June, this month we'll do 300,000 in sales, I think. But I don't know. I think my business is not worth anything because it's so hard to replicate. You have to work with my suppliers to get stuff in. You've got to work with my employees. I jump in there and do shows sometimes. Like how do I sell that? It's not like Bay Area Auto Glass, right? Bay Area Auto Glass, 9,000 people here get their car broken into every single day. That business is solid, right? I don't know. I think reselling is one of the more difficult businesses to scale, but it's by far the easiest business to make 100 grand a year because you don't need to make anything. You can just go thrifting, find all the good stuff that people spent their whole life making, and then resell it. It's hard to scale, but easy to make 100K. That's how I look at it. So I guess it was just that easy way of making money at first is what attracted me to it. But now, after looking at all the other kinds of businesses and people in the group that have like multiple businesses and reselling is just one, I think that reselling is very hard to scale. Once you hit $200,000 a year profit, there's like literally 0.00001 people make more than that.
Several people are saying that you can promote without a store
Okay,
subscription.
so I guess you can promote without a store subscription. I don't know if I would do that in the beginning. Seems like a waste of money when your store is small, but I guess if you can promote without it, go for it.
Anna Panda says, hi, Chris. Question.
Yep.
Does eBay account Does an eBay account longevity affect traffic? My
Yes.
husband had an account for 19 years, not very active. I took over 2 months ago, and the results are amazing.
Yeah, definitely. When people sell their eBay account, I sold an eBay account for $5,000, and it was my original account, and it was since 2003. So that's a 20-year-old account. Somebody bought it. I transferred the business to them. This is another reason why I could be back on eBay if I wanted to. I could just start a company that's not under my name, open an eBay store, and eBay would not know it's me. There's no way that it's connected to me. It would be in a different building, different name, different company, not be me, right? I'm not going to do that because I want them to give me my account back. But an older account has a more established history with eBay, and it's better. So that's why I was able to sell my account for $5,000 because somebody wanted a 20-year-old account. So, it is interesting. And surprisingly, that account's not suspended. So that account, which was made under a separate name, my original one, that account is still running on eBay. So it's just the current ones that I operate that were suspended. That is really interesting that account is still up, but it's no longer me. Somebody else runs it.
Richard says, what method of calculating your hourly rate of earning do you think is more accurate? Actual sales or projected based on total listing value per day?
Actual sales. Bro, that's like on Excel, I'm a trillionaire. Okay, all you have to do is drag down to the right, and you're like, oh, you know what? 77 months from now, I'm a billionaire. That doesn't work though in real life. Projections are so stupid. My wife works for a Fortune 100 company. Every single thing she does is actuals, right? Actuals, only what actually happened, right? And she looks at me and she's like, all your spreadsheets are so dumb. They don't matter. So now I switched. I have just an actuals page of what actually happened. And all of my Excel spreadsheets of me dragging down to the right of what happens, those never work out. So I stopped doing that. It's more about what you do every single week than your projections 3 to 5 years out. It's just not real because so much changes in reselling. It's too hard to drag down to the right. Projections, please don't use that for your hourly.
Matt says, when someone donates clothing to you for free
Yep.
to resell, do you record your COGS as $0?
Yeah, that's how you would legally do it. You could pretend like you paid cash for them and write a receipt, but that's a form of tax fraud. So you're not supposed to, if you get it for free, you're supposed to record it for free. There's ways around that if you want to be sneaky, but that's on you. Technically, if you get it for free, it's free. You can't mark a cost on it. Some people, though, will market cost for acquisition. Like, I paid $8 at a garage sale for it because that's what it's worth. But they got it for free from their uncle. That's not really how it works, but some people do that.
T. Hager says, I am interested in how you organize your stock. I cannot locate a video on this.
I hope if you search Daily Refinement Inventory System, it'll take you right to that video. But if it doesn't, shame on me. But I have videos on my inventory system. I would watch Daily Refinement 1 hour method. Please watch that video. Daily Refinement 1 hour. Please, everybody who's watching right now, smash the like button. Watch Daily Refinement 1 hour video. Watch me do 41 minutes, 10 items all the way through customer service, shipping, photographs, listing, putting it away. 41 minutes for 10 items. It's documented. I've been doing it. I did it when I was on eBay, so you guys can see it. It still applies today. It's exactly the same.
We're done with questions.
We're done with questions. Okay.
Leave questions if you have questions.
I'm excited, guys. I was about an hour. We can do a few more, but I'm jazzed. So on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my Poshmark closet. Hopefully somebody out there cross-lists it to eBay, and I can get sales there as well.
We have a question from Not Your Cup of Tea.
Yep.
What are some items you suggest for a new reseller to look out for?
Only the items that you have at home first. Then when you go out, I would do a little bit of research if you're just starting on 1 or 2 categories. But the first thing I would do is, okay, this is how I would approach it if I was new. Sell everything at home. I would probably get a couple of $100 from that. I would go to every single garage sale locally and figure out what my area is like. Are there areas that are more affluent than others? Are there some thrift stores that are better than others? make a list of all the things that are in my area, start doing some homework, hit the ground, spend $50 to $100 in gas, figuring out what's in my area, join our group for 35 bucks, do the zip code call to figure out how to locate things in your area, what's selling really well for how much, $20 profit at least. Then, if it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back for the $35, so didn't lose anything there if it didn't help you find things sooner. But I can't really tell you because I don't know where you live. You would need to research in your area, find out what's doing well, but you need that couple $100 from selling stuff around the house. Someone in the group said that they sold their Louis Vuitton bag and their iPhone to get started, and I was like, damn, like that's a lot of money sitting there. If you have designer stuff and you're broke, that's a great place to start. I'm super, super excited to sell all the things that I own because, you know, I just don't care. I feel like it's such a waste. It's just sitting there unused at my house, and I want to sell it and get it into the machine. I want to get it into like my kids' college accounts, into my Vanguard. I don't want it just sitting in my house collecting dust.
All of the questions are coming in now.
They're in? Let's do it.
Also, sorry if
Let us know how the audio is. It's windy up here, so we're trying our best.
yeah, and also the internet. We're outside, not connected to Wi-Fi or anything, so let
Okay.
us know. It's kind of jumping a little bit on my iPad right now. Okay. Anna Panda, does eBay give you more traffic if you sell and buy from the same account?
No,
Okay.
it's not related.
Maxwell says, flat lay versus slant lay, white or gray backdrop?
Okay, so flat lay is faster. You use the full effect of gravity to help you. Gravity helps a lot. Pushes your item down flat on the ground. So true flat is going to be better for gravity. Now, if you bend over to do the flat lay, right? Some people complain about their back and they can't do that. Most people, how many people listening right now list more than 70 items a day? Probably zero, right? Not very many people list over 70. If you list less than 70 a day, it's only 1 hour of bending over, right? You probably bend over 40 or 50 times throughout the day and you don't get paid for those. So if you can just sacrifice 1 hour to do it flat on the ground, you can make $500,000 a year profit with just 1 hour of bending over. 70 good items a day, you would be stupid rich. But if you want to do a slant lay, what happens is on the slant, you are closer to the item, okay? Plus, so like it's a less of a distance for you to reach to the item. Depending on your slant, it could either slip off or not slip off. It depends on the angle of the grade of the photo setup. What I want to do, just because I have more time now, is I want to build this like hydraulic system where I can just like stop my foot down and it raises up so I don't have to bend at all. But it's kind of stupid because it's slower. So I don't have a way of making it better. But at this point in my career, my flat lay for photos is going to be how I do it because it's the fastest and it's also going to be where I nap. So I'm going to nap on my gray carpet. Second part of the question, gray carpet. I use gray because it's a natural gray card. It'll give you a more natural looking photo. I'll show you a sample of what my photos are going to look like. It just makes the color more normal. So I'm going to use gray carpet. Tech uses off-white carpet. You just want to use something that is not distracting. I just think that it's easy to see the color. So gray, actual flat lay. So right now I'm sitting crisscross applesauce to take the pictures on the ground for shoes, which is not the best system, but it's like I don't have a way to rate. I don't want 2 photo stations. I just want 1 photo station. So it's like I'm kind of okay sacrificing sitting on the floor for 15 minutes and knock it out. But that's why I want the hydraulic press. And then I want the hydraulic press to come up. So I'm taking the photos, right? Or on the ground. And then I want to press the press and it lifts up, becomes my desk. Somehow my computer, I just pull down from the sky, stick the memory card in, and I don't have to move my feet. I can do the whole thing without moving my feet. That would be awesome. because like every time you take a step, it's a waste of motion.
Yeah.
So I would love to just knock it all out and have this cool hydraulic system. I want fast, and I don't want to move my feet. That would be fun.
Yeah. Question from Leica Style.
Yep.
What's the zip code call you mentioned earlier?
So if you join the group, go to Tech and Sports, who I consider the goat of reselling. In his section, he has how he takes photos in 23 seconds and how he lists in 23 seconds. So in the example, he shows there's a couple of things you need to look for. His photo setup, he'll go over the setup, and then there's a video of him doing it. So you need to look through the group to find those two things. That's on purpose because he's trying to teach you how to learn how to use search. When you learn how to use search, you learn how eBay works. So he's kind of a cryptic person. So like if you do what he tells you to do, which is learn how to search for his video of him doing it in 30 seconds and 23 seconds, and then, hold on a second.
That's the elevator.
That's the elevator. I don't know if they can hear the elevator, but it's loud to me.
They're saying the audio is pretty good up here.
Okay.
That's good.
So he's going to show you how to take photos in less than 30 seconds. In the example where he's listing, he does 7 listings in 5 minutes while talking it. So it's definitely under 1 minute. So you got photos listing, then the zip code call essentially shows you how to search in your area and find out what items are selling for $20 profit or more. And that has been his advice all the way since we started this in 2016. We have been talking about this for damn near 10 years now. And he's always used this $20 profit model, and it's amazing. It's like printing money. You turn an $8 bill into a $20 bill, $8 bill into a $20 bill, over and over again. And what that means essentially is the $8 and the 20 means you can buy 2 items, right, and put $4 in the bank. That's the model. That's the whole premise behind our group and the way that he does things. I am now adopting that. It's completely changed my business. My business is so profitable now. Before, I was like, I don't know what I was doing. It took me 3 years to figure out $20 profit per item totally changes your business. I just had to do a lot more homework and figure out how to sell stuff for $20 profit. Selling stuff for $1 to $5 profit takes 4 to 20 times longer to reach the same result. And now people in the group are even going more extreme. They're like, I did the zip code call, but with $40 profit. I did the zip code call with $100 profit. What in my area is selling for $100 profit? I want to find out. Those stores are generally unsuccessful because there's not that many $100 profit items in your store. So you'd be definitely like spending 20 hours a day driving around and just listing 3 or 4 things. So that model does exist, but it's in my opinion less efficient than 20 or 30 $20 profit items.
eBay's says photos change saturation when uploaded to eBay, Mercari, Poshmark. They look dull. Did anybody notice this?
They can be compressed. So depending on what camera you use, the photos will be compressed down to a format that makes sense for that each individual platform. I don't know how you're uploading it. If you're uploading it on the app, that's going to be very dangerous. So I would recommend uploading them onto a computer and then transferring them with a good connection. Because if you send them through the internet, through the air, through their app, it's going to be bad. I would not recommend doing it that way.
Bertrand says, will changing the name of my eBay account affect my traffic?
No.
I think the name doesn't quite matter, right?
No, the name doesn't matter. Top stores just have E4 City, #1 eBay store. That doesn't mean anything. E4 City? What is that? Yeah. E4 City. Think about that. BHFO, largest clothing company on eBay. What is that? Just initials. Yeah. Initials of their kids plus factory outlet. I mean, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Cameron says, how do you account for things bought at yard sales for tax purposes?
Glad you asked. If you do a receipt book, go Google receipt book, or it's in my reseller supplies. So if you go bit.ly/reseller supplies, get a receipt book, write down $40 spent at garage sales on June 18th, 2023, and that receipt needs to match your ATM withdrawal. That has worked for me. That's completely reasonable. So instead of I don't know the other way of doing it, but you need to write a receipt for your cost of goods that's the same as your ATM withdrawal, and that'll line up when you're doing your taxes. If you buy 40 items for $40, your cost of goods is $1. If you buy 40 items for $200, then your average cost of goods is $5. So that's how I would account for it for taxes and for recording the cost of goods inside of my system. You have to have a receipt though. That's the way to keep track. Also, the IRS not going to check this receipt. Most likely they don't care. Once you become audited, they're going to ask for it. But they really just care about how much money went into your bank account from eBay and how much you spent/withdrew for garage sales. Don't be shady. People are like, at the end of the year, withdrawing $20,000, and they're like, I spent $20,000 at a garage sale on these 2 baseball bats. That's not realistic. If you get audited, they're going to get you. So do not do that. Don't lie. But if your receipt matches your ATM and it's within reason, the IRS is going to be okay. The IRS is going by reasonability.
Richard says, do you have a daily goal based on the value of your items or just number of listings per day? I shoot for $500 listing value every day.
Both. My listing goal per day is 12,000, and my average item goal is 200. So I every day, Monday through Friday, my goal is 200 orders for 12,000. $60 ASP. Yeah, it has to be both, because you can't just list one item for 12,000 and take the day off, because you need to average it out. So my daily goal here, Monday through Friday, 200 orders for 12,000, 60,000 per week is my goal. Sundays and Saturdays I like to be off, but right now I have a really good worker who's independent and she works on Sunday by herself. That's kind of annoying because sometimes she needs help, and when you own your own business, you got to answer the call. But it is like a really nice buffer, because all of my numbers are based on Monday through Friday, but I also have somebody working on Sunday, and that really, really helps. Yesterday she did 4,500. That's great. My business is 1/3 profit, so yesterday, while I was enjoying my Father's Day, I made $1,500 in my resale business. That is so awesome. It's like a really, really good buffer in case something happens. And now on Whatnot, there's a new tipping system where I was a bit confused with the tipping system, because I thought people, like, if I get tipped $5, do I really get $5, or is there a processing fee? I now know that the customer pays the processing fee. So for a $5 tip, they're actually paying $5.45 for you to get 5. So I have now transferred the tips to my workers. So if you guys watch my Whatnot, my streamers keep 100% of their tips, which is a lot of money. I did not realize this, but in the last couple of weeks, I've paid out like close to $1,000 in tips already. So they're making great money off of tips, and I think that hopefully they stay with me even longer, because now, like, it is possible to make 6 figures working for me because of the tips. It's kind of insane. Like, there's been 2 shows where the tips equaled their pay, which is like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's awesome. Like, being able to but then it's like kind of like, I never would have thought that would exist in my company. But like, you can't tip on eBay. You can't be like, this is an amazing deal, here's another $5. People don't really do that. It's just like an interesting model. I think that live auction should be part of most resellers' arsenal moving forward, because like, if you have a way to liquidate goods live for a little bit less money but fast, and then you have your eBay and Poshmark, Mercari, Amazon to get full price, that's a really good balance. Maybe you have a brick and mortar, maybe you have a bunch of people locally who can come buy from you if you get stuck with inventory. That's all so good. I'm only going to take 2 more questions because it's cold up here.
AXB1 says, hi Chris, pros and cons of everything reselling, and if you started over, would you consider that model?
Pros are, it's more fun to shop around and take everything back to your house. Cons are, you got to list all that stuff you bring back to your house. Test it, research it, store it. You don't know how long it's going to take. It takes way longer. For me to do 70 items, everything, it would not take 8 hours a week. 70 items, everything would take all week. It would cut into my family time. It would take more than 40 hours a week to process it, to grade it. Some people are all about that life and they want to spend all day working. I don't. So it's really, 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 really hard to do something different every single day. It's just like, consistency is what makes people successful, and it's really hard to be consistent when every single day is different. It sounds like a nightmare to me now. So it's just, I think about all the years I did everything, and I don't want to do that again. If I had to start over, if I lose my Whatnot account, I lose my Poshmark account, never get my eBay account back, I don't think I'd put in an application to be a plumber, a dentist, a lawyer, janitorial services. I don't know if I would do that because it just sounds exhausting. I would just want to just do one. Also, all this crazy stuff that I do, a job, I used to have a job before this, and that was a lot easier. When I had a job, I already had everything I wanted, except for the schedule. So I don't know if it's worth it or not. I get to control my time now, but there's a lot more stuff to do. So much more stuff to think about. But appreciate everybody. Wait, should we do one more or call it?
Sure.
One more.
One more. There's lots of questions now,
Okay.
thank you. But let's see. Do you command higher prices if you are a top seller?
Yes, 100%. You're a top seller. You get shown more in results and you can charge more. This is like so unfair, right? People who are doing well, they sell more items and for more money. You're not doing well, you don't sell a bunch of items and you sell them you can't even give them away. So over here, we have people who are doing well and they can sell things for a lot, move a lot of inventory, rank higher, understand what they're doing, spend the least amount of time working and the most amount of time on vacation. These people down here, constantly working 24/7, can't sell anything, can't give it away, don't understand what they're doing. Every single day is different. I invite you guys to hang out with us over here where you're getting all of the sales, but you're going to have to leave some people behind, if that's okay. So you're going to have to leave behind 90% of people to join the elite. It is lonely. The air is thinner up here, but it's a better life. It's just a lot of freaking work. So I'm not here to sugarcoat it. It's a lot of work to be on top, but it's worth it. So appreciate you guys. Bye.
Bye. I'll give you a view of San Francisco. This is our view right now.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Right over there.
Can they see?
Yeah, they can see it.
So San Francisco and Oakland over here.
And then Oakland over here.
Wait, can they see? You might have to go over there.
Yeah.
There you go. Wait, no. Downtown is over here.
Oh, is it? We're on the roof right
downtown's
now.
over here.
Oh. Oh yeah, there's downtown. There's Oakland.
Can they see? You guys can see?
Yeah.
So yeah, downtown over here.
And then San
Francisco's
Francisco.
over here.
Right over
I'm
there.
in the hood in West Oakland. So this is all warehouse district.
He says this is all warehouse district.
And murder. There's a lot of murder here. A lot of violent crime. A lot of violent crime in this area. So,
Yeah.
a lot of violent
But it's a
crime.
nice view.
It's a nice view. Great view. Very dangerous, but great view.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good week.